Hello, this video will provide you with an overview of how to cite information for your assignment and where to find additional information. One thing you may want to consider is to use a reference manager software to help you keep track of your references and to help you build your reference list. Refer to the library guide on the different reference manager software available. You may scroll down and look at the table that includes the pros and cons of each of the tools. The most popular products are EndNote, Mendeley, and Zotero. Please note that Mendeley and Zotero are free. There are many different reference styles that exist. You may have heard of APA, Chicago, MLA, and of course, AMA. For this assignment, you are asked to use the AMA citation style. Please note that this citation style uses a number format where you put the superscript throughout your text. And in the reference list at the end, you will put them in the order of how they appear in your text. AMA is sometimes also called Vancouver style, ICMJE, or uniform requirements. They have a bit of an identity crisis. They have multiple names, but they all mean the same citation style. Here are two helpful resources in case you wanted to look for more examples on how you may cite by AMA format. You can check out the National Library of Medicine website. You can also refer to the University of Manitoba website, where they have a lot of really good examples on how to cite using AMA. And I figured, why reinvent the wheel when they already have a really good guide here for you? To help you get started, here are some examples on how to use AMA citation style for different types of resources. Let's start with journal articles. If you're citing primary resources, such as articles or systematic reviews, this is the format that you'd use since it would be considered a journal article. Here is an example of how we would cite near the end in our reference list. So let's break this down in more detail on what do you need to know on building this citation. You can see that there's the number one at the very beginning. So this appears at the very beginning of your text. So it's referencing the first reference. Then you're going to list the authors. Notice the format is their last name and their first initials. Then you will include the article title. Then you'll include the journal name. This is from the New England Journal of Medicine, and it is abbreviated, very important. The next component is the date. It is perfectly fine to only list the year if that is only what is available. Then we have the volume and issue number, and finally, the page numbers. Also very important, note the punctuation, the commas, the periods, semicolons, brackets, colons, and it also ends with a period. You might be wondering, well, how will you know what to abbreviate the journal names by? Here is a trusty resource for finding journal abbreviations. I'll do a quick example here on how to find them. So let's go to this link right away, and we're going to search for New England Journal of Medicine as our example. New England Journal of Medicine. Also note that they will populate the journal names that have that sharing the keywords. We can go ahead and click on the first one and search. And scroll down and look through the results. Sometimes there might be several journal names here, but I think the second hit is what we're looking for. Then look for the NLM title abbreviation, and you can see how to abbreviate that journal name is NENGJMed. That is the abbreviation for that journal, and that is how you can find it. If you ever have any trouble finding the abbreviation for the journal name, please do not hesitate to email me and I can help you out. What about drug monographs? Here's an example for CPS. If you are citing from a drug monograph, take a look at the date of revision on that page, and that is what you will put in. So here's an example that you may follow later on. What about other components within CPS? When you're doing a search in CPS, notice how sometimes the information is coming from different sources, such as minor ailments, therapeutic choices, patient information, and so on and so forth. These are called the specific databases from which the information is coming from in CPS. If you were ever curious to know what other databases that are in CPS, you may click on the Drugs Conditions tab near the top, and it will list all of these database components within CPS. So you can see here we have products for minor ailments, therapeutic choices, minor ailments by itself, and patient information, of course. Let's imagine that we clicked on the examples for the minor ailments and therapeutic choices as two examples here. So this is an example for um, the minor ailments. Notice how when you click into the record, you have no idea which database this is coming from. So it's really important before you click into it to note the database that you're going into. So it's really tricky here. So we are going into allergic rhinitis, minor ailments, and this is what that page looks like. Note the author, the date of revision, and those are all the bits of information that you need to reference the minor ailments page. Here's our example here for allergic rhinitis. Note the author name, the title of that page, in the specific database name, which was minor ailments. We'll list the publisher, the date, if available, and the updated date when you accessed it. So in our example here, we accessed it in January 18th, 2025, and we'll also list the URL, and we do not include a period at the very end. So that's an example of minor ailments. I also listed an example here for therapeutic choices, so you know how to list it out. What about LexiDrug? Here's an example for the drug monograph. Again, it's really important to note the specific database name from which the information comes. So here, when you are doing a search for a drug, notice how it separates out the different information based on the database name. Did you know that? So for example, here we have Lexi Drugs as a specific database. HFS Essentials is also another database name. You can also refer to the updated date that you can see on this page. That is also the date that you may include in your reference. Here's another example from LexiDrug, but this time we are not in the LexiDrug database. We are in this other database called Patient Education, Disease and Procedure. And you can write out the reference based on this format here. Here's an example from RX files. Depending on the components within RX files that you're looking, here are two examples on how you may write out the reference. Here's an example for drug comparison chart and for GeriRx files. Here's also an example from Dynamed, and again, just note the order on how to list the information, and also the punctuation is very important. Here are some examples from websites because it is very possible that most of your information are coming from websites. So here are two examples from Tools for Practice and Therapeutics Initiative. Note the author name, the title of the page, the name of the website, publication date, the updated date, and again, only include these if available. If not, don't worry about it. And also list the date when you access that information. So in my Tools for Practice example here, I accessed this website on February 27th of 2025. Here is a quick example on how it will actually look in your final assignment. You're going to have your text, and note how we have the references in superscript. They're the really tiny numbers at the very top there. So you see how it's listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throughout my paragraph there. And that is the order in which the information has been cited. Going down to our reference list, we are again numbering them based on that order, and we're using the format of AMA citation style in all its glory. I hope this provides you with a really good overview of how to do this. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns, and good luck with your assignments.